Now joined by promoter and translator, Mr. Eddie Hearn. Eddie, we just saw there the FIFA Club World Cup promo. Lots to look forward to on DAZN right now, and that shows you the direction they're trying to move in.
Incredible. I mean, the fact that every major team, virtually,
Celtic,
around the world is competing live on DAZN. I mean, we are renowned, really, in most people's mind, I guess in this country and in America, as a boxing platform. But it's not. It's a global sports platform, and the FIFA Club World Cup is a massive catch for DAZN. And you know, not only can you watch great nights of boxing like Saturday, you can also watch all the major teams, virtually every major team from around the world.
They're calling this the final hurdle for Galal Yafai towards a fight against Kenshiro Taraji. We know he's got a big fight coming up next month himself as unified champion, but I asked Darren this question. You believe Galal is ready, all going well on Saturday?
I actually think this is a very, very tough fight, and you know, Galal I don't think quite liked my question about Sonny Edwards, but the reality is whatever way you want to look at it, we didn't know that when Sonny Edwards entered that ring, probably mentally, like whatever Galal says, Sonny mentally wasn't 100% going into that fight. Now, he still took him to pieces, and it was a brilliant performance, and I guess he wants, you know, his flowers for that performance. He should get it. But the mindset of Rodriguez versus the mindset of Sonny Edwards going into this fight is very different. I know these guys. Right, we work with a lot of Mexican fighters. When a guy he's coming up to me saying, "Thank you for this opportunity. I promise you, I will not let you down on Saturday night." This is Rodriguez. I don't even know the guy. This is his absolute everything. And these young men are so tough, Jamie. Like, they go over to Japan. I thought he beat Ioka. I thought it was a very close fight. Terrazas, these guys. He's a former unified world champion.
Went 10 with Nakatani.
He's going to give Yafai all he can handle. I believe Yafai will come through, but this is when people talk about that preparation to fight for a world title, this is absolutely it. I mean, Galal talks about, to beat the Ring Magazine #1, the WBC. Yeah, but by the way, in doing it, you are giving yourself every opportunity to win that title when the big opportunity comes.
Does he need to look good? Look, I know
you always need to look good.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what we keep talking about at the moment, right? And I see it like this whole Tom and Jerry stuff, like be exciting. When has Galal not been in an exciting fight? Every time he fights, he's all action. Your stock, your value rises when you look spectacular. So really, you look at Terrazas, obviously Mr. Honda and those guys want to bring Galal Yafai to Japan for that fight. That is the key market for the lighter weight divisions for the big fights. What we want is a thriller where Galal Yafai looks sensational, and maybe we can bring that fight to Birmingham. Do you know what I mean? So you're under pressure every time you fight to perform. And fighters, you know, I got asked so many questions last week about what do you think about the comments about you have to be entertaining. My answer is this: you have your own style, right? You shouldn't necessarily have to adapt that to try and survive in the game. Just understand, if you are entertaining, the show goes on, your stock rises and the opportunities increase.
And I guess as well, in this city, still looking for a real star. You know, they haven't had one for a long time. And if he was to back up the performance that he done against Sonny Edwards on Saturday night, he's well on his way.
I also feel, Dan, sometimes like the lighter weight divisions just don't really get the credit. Yeah. I mean, the reality is Galal is a flyweight. So what? I mean, look at Bam Rodriguez. Top 5 pound for pound, one of the biggest stars in the sport. But it is a harder route. You have to almost do something more spectacular to get the recognition. He should get that recognition anyway. He's an Olympic gold medalist. So, you know, but I feel like sometimes people look at the opponent, you know, like just a casual boxing fan might say, "Oh, Rodriguez, it's a Mexican, it's just a Galal victory, isn't it?" They don't necessarily watch the tape, look at the unified championship victories, look at the big fights in Japan, and know that this is by far, given now what we know about Galal, the toughest fight of his career so far. Like, it can only be a war. And that's what you want when you bring in an opponent. It's a bit like Baluta, right? It's like...
What were they saying up there? Because obviously we couldn't understand.
He was, all jokes aside, my Spanish and with a little Romanian mix wasn't quite up to speed, but basically saying that he's going to have a spectacular victory on Saturday. And he believes it, by the way. I mean, look, also, you know, like when you've got a team of people like Lee Eaton, like these kind of guys behind Baluta, they're right bang up for it. And that's what you want. You know, when we got the phone call from Shabazz to say that he was out, it's always a gutter. I mean, don't forget, McGrail hasn't had the best of luck. right? Dennis McCann pulled out. Well, he failed a test, so he was out of the fight. All of a sudden, Shabazz is out of the fight. He's agreeing to all of these fights. And then all of a sudden, Tom Dallas goes to me, Baluta's up for it. And I'm like, oh, yes. Will he take it? It wasn't like, will you fight Baluta? 1,000,000%, put me in. But that's like, if you are as good as you're supposed to be, you'll beat Baluta.
And great narrative, too, with the victories over the lads in the
Yeah, of course. But that's like,
Brad Strand.
Where you've got to be, it's a bit like Yafai. If Yafai can't beat Rodriguez, he's not going to beat Terrazas. Agreed? I mean, like that's... And by the way, if McGrail can't beat Baluta, he's not going to win a world championship.
And if he does, I'm so intrigued about the route that McGraw will go on if he does get the win. What's the plan for him?
There's only one champion in the division, which is Inoue. That all changes in September when Akhmadaliev dethrones him in Japan. And then we can talk about Akhmadaliev against McGrail. It's a great fight, but also, look, I know that's me being a fanboy, but over time, the belts are going to fragment. So what you have to do with someone like Peter McGrail is get him into a mandatory position for that world title. That's all you can do. And that could be against MJ, could be against Inoue, or it could be for a vacant title. But I like the mindset of where Peter's at in his career right now, which is, I'm ready for everybody. I don't care if it's Shabazz, I don't care if it's McCann, I don't care if it's Baluta. Give me the big fights. And that's what...
Will you look to revisit the Masood fight?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look, Masood, I don't think he's going to be out for a huge period of time. So he's going to want to come back and have a big fight. And we've got some big nights planned. So that's a great fight. But as is this one against Baluta.
Got to ask you about one of your favourites.
Yeah.
You referenced the watch-along when you were over in the States when, let's be honest, he was miles down. Darren said he's got to throw the kitchen sink. He did it and became British champion.
I was watching Conor Walker against Liam Taylor. And, look, I'm always going to talk it up. The fight was over. I mean, it almost had... I mean, it was worse than Wardley against Hearn because that's the heavyweights and even though Hearn was well in control, this weren't even close, was it? You'd struggle to give Conor Walker more than 1 round, 2 rounds in that fight. Yeah. And against such a style like Harry Scarf, it's just like I was just sitting there waiting for the rounds to go out. And I go, fair play to Conor Walker, he's given it a go and he's fought, as he said, Harry Scarf, which no one wants to do. And it wasn't like it was coming, was it? It wasn't like, and all of a sudden it was set up beautifully. And, like, I just love to see people change their life like Conor Walker has. But he's only just at the tip of the iceberg in terms of what could become. Like, if he beats Liam Taylor on Saturday, he's guaranteed another big domestic fight. But he's also, how far away from the belts at 147 are all of a sudden becoming fragmented.
He told me he wants the winner of Crocker Donovan.
Yeah, but not just the winner of Crocker Donovan. You've got Giasov, who's going to fight for the Super Championship. He's going to get himself ranked with the WBA as well. Who knows what could happen? Like, but it's it doesn't matter if it's Conor Walker, doesn't matter if it's Dave Allen. It's just something about seeing a fighter go on a run against all odds and just go through the levels of payday and maybe houses. Do you know what I mean? And just see a guy. You have to remember, Conor Walker was at area title level, getting beat. Right? English title level, getting beat. And he just took a fight against Cyrus Patterson as an opponent. Cyrus Patterson was us. He was we just expect him to stroll through Conor Walker in a good fight. And he wins that fight. He has an absolute hellacious war against Lewis Crocker in a fight that could have gone either way. Comes back, beats Lewis Ritson, beats Harry Scarf in a classic. This fight, I wouldn't say 50-50 because I think Conor's on a great run, but pretty much 50-50.
Certainly a better style for Conor Walker.
Oh, well, he said, I'm looking forward to this fight. But how many times can you go to the well, And he's going to be there again on Saturday, going to the well.
Serious crop of youngsters on the undercard. But someone I'm so excited to watch is the debut.
Yeah.
Tia Ayton. 21 fights, 21 wins, 9 by stoppage.
But she just said there, she had a couple of 100 kickboxing fights and never lost.
Never lost any fight.
There's tape. There's tape of Tia Ayton in a cage, UFC style. I mean, I don't know how old she is. 9, 10.
I think she's doing interviews.
All right, I was going to pull her over because I'm fascinated by the story, right?
I think I know the one. I think she's 12.
Yeah, but it's like, but you can't strike, but you can grapple. And they're in there, and she's like slinging her over. I'm like, she's a fighting machine. And I love the story, and I've seen the old YouTube videos of her dad like driving her around the country. Now she's flying all over the world with Dean, the trainer, and stuff like that. she's never been beaten in any combat, right? She's had 21 amateur fights, 9 or 10 knockouts. She's stopping girls. Everything she goes into. Tia, come here.
Oh, come on, Tia, we'll bring you in.
You said to us you've had a couple of 100 fights undefeated as well. Is that kickboxing?
Yeah, Muay Thai, MMA, kickboxing.
So Muay Thai...
Never lost?
No, the last time I lost, I was 8. So, and I've only lost 3 times, actually.
And what was that discipline?
Well, I'm so upset.
No, but as in, like, was it Muay Thai, wrestling?
I lost once in kickboxing and twice in Muay Thai.
And how many fights have you had in total?
Like, over 300. So,
right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm so glad you come into boxing, because I think you could have been a UFC star as well.
I know, I could have, but I like
when you unify all the divisions and then we go to UFC, just make sure I'll represent you, all right?
Okay.
Yeah, all right.
Thanks.
And also, we should also mention about your rapping ability. So I just want to tell a little story, right? So Tia, there was a video on YouTube of her and her dad. She created a rap, right? It's actually stuck with me. It's like A-Y-T-O-N. So yeah, right. It's so good, right? I said to Brian Peters, our manager, we need to release this. She's removed the video.
Yeah.
She's got her dad to take it.
I thought it was going to be your ring walk.
No, because they wanted me to do that. I said no.
In the ring, will you do it?
Yeah.
No. Okay, maybe like after a few fights, but not this
No, I am. We need to release that before the debut on Saturday. Well, we'll see. I'll tell you. No, you won't get bullied. No one's going to bully you. Trust me.
Before we let you go, Tia, quick prediction. What happens on Saturday night?
I hope I'll do a stoppage. That's my predictions, but either way, I'm going to win.
Okay, the start of a very exciting journey. Tia, thanks for joining us. We'll let you jump out.
Thank you.
You reminded me like the Louis Theroux rap there.
I know, yeah. It is. It's really good. No, but it's just like, do you know what excites me? When you've been on that journey from, I don't know, 8 or 7, and you imagine, like, I mean, look, you got a daughter, right? I've got a daughter. You imagine going on that journey, all these international tournaments, like kickboxing, boxing, and then all of a sudden, like, you're pro debuting on Saturday night. It's so exciting. I think her dad's around. I can't wait. I've not met him yet, but I just can't wait to just feel my dad always said to me, if you can get 1% of the buzz of a fighter or that person, and you imagine being like of that incredible experience. And she's a born fighter. She's like a one-off.
He's so proud.
Yeah, but
he's been telling
she should be
people
because of the dedication.
I dad.
Yeah, no, but he should be because of the dedication she showed. You know, kids these days, you go in for something for 6 months or a year, then you find something else, then you find going out with your mates, then this and that. It's a pure dedication from 6 or 7 years, born to fight.
Future world champion.
She better look good on Saturday because I've really talked it up.
I've got to ask you quickly about Pat Brown. He was someone we glossed over there. First, you've got to ask, putting him on, there's one thing, keeping a fighter active. Twice in 2 weeks, what's the thoughts behind that?
Well, just because you need to be active at this stage in your career. You know, the route with Pat, every fighter, when you sit down with fighters, I mean, Tia's an example, and Leo and Adam Macker, they're 18 years of age. So it's like, have 6 or 7 6-rounders. But Pat is 2 6-rounders, 2 8-rounders, then into the 10s. So we've got a great opponent for him, not just on Saturday, but in Manchester as well. It's a really good step up. And I just feel like the only concern on Saturday is, like he said, it's in your head a little bit. It's like, I'm fighting in 2 weeks. And you know that he sold a lot of tickets for Saturday, but he'll do 1,000 in Manchester. So he's thinking, blimey, I don't want to, get a nick here or damage a hand and I'm out of Manchester. So it's a little bit difficult. But
just very quickly, Ed, just on that, I'm just thinking about the journeys that certain fighters take. And someone like Pat Brown, who's got that unbelievable pedigree but gets moved along quicker, do you see their careers being shorter than the average fighter?
Probably in terms of fights, because you're getting there much quicker. So normally with a debutant, like the contract would read anywhere between 4 and 6 6-round fights, depending on their age and their amateur experience. Like if you look at Galal, he's had 9 fights. He's a WBC interim world champion. I think he's had, his first fight was a championship fight, 10 rounds.
Was, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, but with Pat, it's like, with his style, he's going to be even better over 10 rounds, than he would be over 6, because maybe 1 or 2 rounds he just gets into the fight. But he's a handful. Horrible. Imagine fighting Pat Brown. What an horrible
how
big
he got
lump.
Dave Allen on his shoulders.
No, I know.
I do not know.
Did you see him? He was, you know.
He ticks a lot of boxes.
Man down.
Yeah, but listen, Pat's also a great personality and a real solid human being. And I've got to say that can't call it a partnership, but the friendship between Dave and Pat Brown is one of the funniest things in boxing. I mean, you should have heard them earlier. They're really, I think Pat, and especially that gym, has been really good for Dave Allen. Yeah. Because you don't mess around in that gym. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I was so shocked when Dave Allen told me today that last night he was on the treadmill.
It was
at 10 o'clock at night.
I can actually vouch for him.
I know. I mean, it was, as he told me, only 10 kilometres an hour. But listen, it's a start, you know.
It was a speed walk.
Yeah.
What's next for Dave?
Wilder?
We're in negotiations for a couple of massive fights.
I've heard some mad.
I know. And Dave has put himself in a position, because of his, not just because of his win, but because of his personality and because of his profile, that he's, and he won't mind me saying this, he's a good opponent, right? But we want him to be more than that, right? He's made good money, and if he gets that shot against someone I'm referring to, you're talking about more en suites than he could have ever dreamed of, right? I'm talking about the big mansion, right? Which is, nothing would make me happier to see Dave Allen walking around his multi-en-suite mansion in his dressing gown and his slippers, right? I mean, you must feel the same, right? Just to, so.
Can of coke in his hand.
Yeah, but part of me just feels like we've got so much more to give on this journey, and I would like him, in a sense, if we don't land that big fight, to fight TKV for the British title. I would love to see him win the British title, but at the same time, if the big opportunity comes, it's so hard not to take that opportunity. This is where the strategy really comes in. You've got to really think carefully, because he's, for the first time in his career, he's in a really good position. He's got a long-term contract with great money and great opportunity, but...
A bit harsh on the work Darren did with him.
Well, yeah, that was a long time ago. You know, he's really grown as a manager since then, you know. But it's like, yeah... but we got to remember those opportunities don't come around very often. And, you know, I know there was a lot said about maybe 6 years ago, he had an opportunity to fight Daniel Dubois for good money. And I said to him, I don't think you should fight him. He wasn't training. Like, it would have been so bad to watch and so dangerous. And I just said to him, if you get yourself back in position, I think you'll make that money anyway. And he never got himself back in position because he just went off the rails. But now I look back and I'm glad he never took that fight, if I'm honest, because I'm not even sure he'd still be in the game this long. And we just got to think really carefully, because, you know, I really want him to make the right decision. But I also, selfishly, as a promoter, we've got a little bit of a diamond in the rough there, someone that's a massive star at the moment. Let's have it right. You know, I keep saying to people, outside of Fury and AJ and Eubank and Ben, tell me the other big names of British boxing. Dave Allen's right up there. And people might say, come on. But
like, fan favourite.
I mean, we see it in our digital numbers, in the interactions. Ask all the members of the media here. So we'll see what happens. He could be in a monster fight next. Or, if not, he'll fight for the British title, which would make me very happy as well. And guess what? I think he'll fill up Sheffield Arena.
Quick one, just before we let you go. Speaking of opportunity, moving up to 154 pounds, it seems, for Jerome Boots Enis. Have you had any conversations with him? Yeah,
loads over the last... I mean, it's been a very difficult decision over the last month or so. You know, like, part of us... You see the performance against Stanionis, and if I said to you that that was probably 60% of what Boots Enis has, imagine what he's going to do at 154. Like, you've only got to look at the guy on fight week to know that he's depleted. But listen, he's weighing in, he's recovering, and he's still... That was a sensational performance, but he's like, Ed, I know how I'm feeling, and I'm just not... I'm not powerful like I should be. I'm like, really? And he says, look, watch me at 154. And honestly, this guy is going to put the fear of God up everybody at 154. Not just at 54, at 60 as well, over the next year or so. He's a massive guy. And those extra 7 pounds are going to be huge for his performance. So back in August, September, and then ready for everybody. Virgil Ortiz, Mutsalayev, Fundora, anyone you want. That Boots... For me, 100% physical Jerome Ennis will be unbeatable.
Talking about those mega fights, just the final one to finish on, bring it back to Birmingham, bring it back to Galal Yafai. He told me the dream opponent is Bam Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Different Rodriguez. I think one day we'll see that.
That's an absolute natural fight. It's just how long Bam will stay at 115 pounds. You know, I think the move for Bam to bantam is quite soon. The fight against Cafu is the toughest fight in the division for him. I know the Puma fight's a great fight, but style-wise, that's a good fight for Bam Rodriguez. Cafu is very tricky, very, very talented. We've sold nearly 7,000 tickets already for July 19th. It's going to be a huge crowd in Arlington. And Bam's special. I was watching some tape of him earlier training, but Bam against Galal is a mega fight. It's just the case of, are we going to get there, you know? And maybe over time.
Well, this is boxing. We love it. We can stand here and talk all day. That was the press conference. Join us tomorrow for the official weigh-in. Fighters on the scale from 1 p.m. Head on down to BP Pulse Live if you are in Birmingham and can watch the weigh-in live in person. From myself, Jamie Ward, Eddie Hearn and Darren Barker, we'll see you tomorrow.